or religious reasons, such as belief, I mean like vegans or vegetarians. Is it easy for them to find food?
Yes, it is. I think, again, this is a misperception about finding food in Ethiopia. There really is plenty of food. You'll always be given food directed to little local supermarkets. People are very healthy. The diet is extremely healthy. And there are plenty of vegetarian dishes and fruits in season like bananas and mangoes, which are quite delicious. So, yes, it is easy to find food.
Thinking about mangoes now. All your answers are sending me off in wild directions. Should travellers book through a tour operator or travel agent, or is it easy to sort yourself out once you're there?
Well, because Ethiopia is such a big country, I would certainly advise doing some research before your journey. And that's where I come in, I suppose. You can always talk to me and I'll chat till the cows come home about Ethiopia. But it really is best to try and focus on what you want to do, what your interests are, and where you want to go. During the busy times, accommodation does really get quite booked up, so to guarantee a hotel room, it's best to organise all of this beforehand so as not to worry once you arrive. That being said, you would probably have no problem finding a hotel room if you do arrive and are travelling independently. It'll be more of an adventure, certainly, but you probably won't have any problem, though.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, I'm checking in for my flight.
Lovely. Business or pleasure?
Holiday.
And where will you be staying?
With my parents, they live over there.
Lovely. Travel insurance?
Oh, no thanks.
Have you got travel insurance?
No.
Checked to see if you need any vaccinations?
No.
Checked out the local laws?
No, look. Why do I need to know all this? I'm just staying with my parents.
Is either of your parents A local lawyer, or the chief of police, B, fabulously wealthy, C, the owner of a private plane with its own fully trained medical staff, or D, none of the above?
D?
Lovely. Are you a superhero and in fact immortal?
Things can go wrong on holiday abroad, even if you're staying with family. So check it out before you check in. Find out more at gov.uk/know before you go.
You can follow me on Twitter @holiday_hut.
Still to come on the show, we're going to find out how easy it is to charter your own yacht. But we're still talking to Amelia Stewart from Simoon Travel about Ethiopia. We're going to find out what customs you should observe while you're there. And then we're going to hear more about her recent trip. And she's very passionate about the country, and it comes across. And I'm pretty sure by the end of it, you're going to agree with me. It's definitely a place you should stick on your bucket list.
What customs should visitors ensure that they observe while they're in the country so they don't offend anybody?
So again, as with any country, I think it's wise to do a little research beforehand before you visit. Ethiopia is predominantly a Christian country, so it pays to dress respectfully, especially in rural areas. So women don't wear shorts and tend to have their arms covered. In Addis, though, you'll see all sorts of fashion and tight jeans and tops and high heels and that sort of thing. It's also respectful to remove your hat when entering a church. But other than that, it's really not overly conservative.
You recently visited there. What did you do?
Oh gosh, what didn't we do? Well, we focused on the northern part of the country, which is really all about the history and the culture, and I took a small group tour. We were also joined by a young Italian guest lecturer whose knowledge of early Ethiopian art and iconography is fantastic, so his passion and enthusiasm really enriched the journey, which was great for everyone on the group. We travelled up through Gondar. That was once the capital of Ethiopia, and it's filled with fairy tale castles and palaces and wonderful churches, and we experienced the festival of Timkat there. This is one of the most joyous celebrations in the Ethiopian calendar. It's essentially a 3-day party which celebrates the baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist in the River Jordan. We then journey through the Simoon Mountains. This is the highest range of mountains in Africa and home to an incredible assortment of endemic bird, wildlife, absolutely wonderful. There's a Galada baboon that roams around these mountains, which has a heart-shaped stamped and printed onto its chest, and a sort of wash-and-go blow-dry for a hairstyle, which is really great to see, particularly when they're running around over the hills. Then from there we went up to Axum, where the Ark of the Covenant is kept under lock and key. We travelled through beautiful scenic landscapes, the Tigrayan highlands, stopping at markets and little villages before finishing in Lalibela. This is home to some of the most wondrous rock-hewn churches, which are still working churches where priests live and continue their daily lives in hermit caves. We also did a couple of days walking through the highlands, staying in simple huts and experiencing a taste of the rural way of life. But we were there really over many celebrations of saints' days, and there always seemed to be a party or procession of singing and dancing on, which is just great. Ethiopians love to sing and dance.
You did an awful lot with your trip. You sound like you needed another break once you come back. But is there anything you would do differently if you was to do that again?
Honestly, I think I'd just make the trip longer. It just wasn't enough. We were there for nearly 2.5 weeks, and we saw and did so much. I like to really get under the skin of a country and try and see it from ground level and see how the people live and work. So, I would just make the trip longer. You do need a decent amount of time to get to know and understand Ethiopia.
You don't work for the Ethiopian Tourist Board, you work for a tour operator. Could you just explain who you are, please?
Yeah, well, I set up Simoon Travel in 2004, focusing on Libya. Simoon means a desert wind in Arabic. I was the first little travel company specializing in Libya, and I've journeyed there many times, taking small groups, and then I added other countries like Syria, Oman, Iran, Lebanon, and Algeria to the portfolio of countries. About 2 years ago, I joined forces with Original Travel, which is a medium-sized luxury tour operator that goes to about 100 destinations worldwide in much detail. So essentially, I still operate my company within Original Travel. I'm part of the Original Travel family, and I'm currently focusing very much so on Ethiopia, as well as Egypt, Sudan, Tunisia, the Caucasus, and also Uzbekistan.
Original Travel are ABTA members, aren't they? And they have fully atoll bonded, so there's all that protection involved.
Yes, exactly, that's right. So Simoon being part of Original Travel, we're protected under the Original Travel atoll. We also have IATA and ABTA membership.
All very important stuff.
Yeah.
How would we find out about the trips you have on offer?
So the easiest way is to visit the Original Travel website. And I also still keep the Simoon Travel website up to date with my tours. You can find them all there. Simoon Travel is S-I-M for mother, O-O-N. You can also sign up to my monthly newsletter, which has details of all the tours I run. But I don't just do group tours. I also tailor-make tours for individuals as well.
If somebody was to go and they had limited time, what would be the one must-do thing for a visitor to Ethiopia?
This is a really tricky question. I think once you land in the capital in Addis, you have to go straight to a restaurant where you can eat the national food, drink the national drink, meet the locals, and watch an incredible performance and display of music and dancing. It really is an experience you won't forget for a long time.
And finally, how can we find out more about Ethiopia?
Well, there's some great literature on Ethiopia. Authors such as Philip Marsden, Wilfred Thesiger, Devla Murphy, to name but a few. The Ethiopian Embassy are fantastic. They're very helpful. The internet, of course, is a huge resource. BRAC do a very good travel guide. And there are also some great Ethiopian restaurants in London if you want to try out the food.
Yes, I do want to try out the food, so I'll have to give that a go.
I think you should,
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Amelia. Thank you for all your advice on Ethiopia.
No, not at all. My pleasure.
For more information on visiting Ethiopia, you can visit www.tourismethiopia.gov.et. Also, you can follow Amelia and Simoon Travel on facebook.com/Simoon Travel. Twitter is @Simoon Travel. Amelia does do a monthly newsletter which you can sign up to at simoontravel.com/bookings-and-contact/newsletter. There's also a blog about Amelia's trip to Ethiopia, which is at www.originaltravel.co.uk/blog/Ethiopia-travel. And of course, all these websites and links will be mentioned on facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show and on my johnguinn.me blog. You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. I've been to the Caribbean now so many times that I've lost count. I'm not showing off, it's just that when you're there you get to see lots of little ships and boats and yachts. And you see the yachts sailing around the islands, and you think, that looks great, that's the life for me, I'd really like to do that. But I've always been a bit scared, thinking it's too complicated, it's beyond me, maybe even too dangerous. But that's really not the case, and to find out more about how easy it is to have your own yacht, I spoke to Chris Lorenzo from Seafarer to find out what Seafarer can offer the budding sailor and to talk about their offerings on the small cruises as well. So Chris, how popular is chartering a yacht?
It's becoming very popular. More and more people, I think, are discovering the joys of sailing, and it's certainly a growing part of the travel industry, without a doubt.
Can you just hop on a boat and sail off?
You can. If you haven't got any previous sailing experience, you'd need to hire a professional skipper. But you can most certainly just hire and go, as they say.
How many hours of training would you need to be able to skipper it on your own?
I'd say that realistically, you need to do a bit of swatting, a bit of reading at home, maybe on some of the theory stuff, navigation, and then you'd probably need a week, 5 days of intensive training. But usually in a holiday environment, it's done over a week to prepare you to be able to sail a yacht safely. Usually within what we call a flotilla environment, where you're sailing your own yacht but in the company of others and a lead yacht and crew who are there to advise and assist if you need help.
So if somebody's looking for a course, they should really look for something with a flotilla type training?
Well, the idea is you can do the course in the UK, you can do the course abroad, but as your first outing, once you've qualified, a flotilla holiday is highly advisable because you're not completely on your own. And as you build your confidence, there's support there to call on.
Okay. In terms of cost, does having a skipper make it much more expensive?
It is an additional cost. I mean, typically a skipper will be something like £120 a day. So, over a 7-night holiday, it's close on £900. Although if you share that between, let's say, a party of 6 people, if your friends or get together or a family, then the cost is not so great. But for the same cost, you can, and less, I should say, you can get the training. So from that point of view, doing the training and getting qualified is a sound investment, as well as great fun, of course.
For somebody who's inexperienced, is it better to sail a catamaran or a monohull?
I think the experience doesn't really come into it. It's down to preference. Certainly people who are less confident on boats tend to favour catamarans because they consider them more stable. They're not more stable. They just look more stable, perhaps feel more stable, that they don't lean over with the wind and so on. But in extreme conditions, actually a monohull is safer. I think the advantage is that the catamarans have a lot more space, so they're very, very spacious, being more than double the width. I think monohulls are far more flexible, can go in a lot differing weather conditions, and they're a lot cheaper to hire as well, and to park. If you consider, parking fees in marinas, berthing fees in marinas, catamarans are a lot more expensive than monohulls.
Where are the best locations in the world for a new sailor?
For a new sailor, I would say I'd recommend the Ionian Islands in Greece. Natural home of yacht chartering, and because the conditions are moderate, no one's going to go out there and scare their crew on the first outing. The weather is moderate, reliable, nice and sunny, nothing scary, beautiful area as well. So I'd say nowhere better for the less experienced.
I've seen on your website there's all sorts of types of holidays. We've already spoken about flotilla holidays, but what's a bareboat holiday?
A bareboat holiday is effectively where you hire the boat, hire the bare boat, and go. So there are no extras in terms of crew on board. You don't have the lead yacht crew that you have on a flotilla holiday with the various other arrangements. that typically you get on a Seafarer flotilla.